it is audible, sir.
Sure, sure,
So, sir, let's wait for another 2 to 3 minutes.
sure.
We are expecting around 60 plus participants.
All right.
The previous session was from Professor Sachindra Kakuti. So
Okay.
he left 45 minutes ago. So let's inform the participant also to join. By the time, sir, I would like to just inform you that today is almost like we are ending, like 80% of the session are over. In the morning, as I told that Professor Sachindra Kakuti was there, and then on the first day we have our Mirnar Talukdar, who is also a social influencer and also the top we call it a media house, a corporate media house. He's a top reporter also. Thereafter, sir, we have young social entrepreneur, Mrs. Sagar, and then followed by we have another lady which is also a very strong social mover, and she is Dr. Saini. And thereafter we also have the shoulder taker of this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, Professor V.K. Vijay. And then and similarly we also have yesterday the session from University of Melbourne, Professor Dole and Professor Robert. Professor Dole is looking after this smart village lab in Melbourne, and now we are also trying to start the same thing in especially in India, in also here in northeastern state. We just started our journey, sir, and of course, like last time we spoke that Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, we have just taken the step, the baby step. We will keep on needing the blessing and support from a person like you, who is heading the rural institute from the government of India based in Assam. So sir, let me tell you about the participant also. We have the participant across the country, sir. I would say like 15% are there, and the remaining 85% are from our northeastern state. Let me tell you very proudly that we have the participant from Jammu and Kashmir also. So this is very really very good. So we appreciate the participant from Jammu and Kashmir, and also we have a participant from the lower part of India, that Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. So we have those participants, and of course from the central part of India also, from Bihar, Odisha. So they are our backbone of this program. They have taken us. So this is very motivating, since we are a very small institute and the first time we are doing it. But even though the participants have appreciated, they like it. So in spite of so many webinar around the the internet this day, they are floating so many webinar this and that, but in spite of, they have chosen and they have decided to join us. So I'm really very grateful to all the participants also. And sir, like I already said at the beginning that we just wanted to start our journey here, and then the purpose of this seminar or this workshop or this interface is that we wanted to get people involved, the volunteers especially get involved, that they look after their own places, their own villages, their own location, and then try to move forward to make our village stronger, like in a rural or in a semi-urban, rural, in urban, So this is the idea behind, so that we wanted to create a battery, a team of people, the comrade who will change the village, which was looking for more than 70 years toward us. Since we are fortunate to get a degree, we are fortunate to live in a semi-urban or urban area. So there are so many people are there who are looking forward. So this is the theme, entire picture of this workshop, sir. And now we have around 40, so maybe a couple of minutes, maybe 1 minute we'll wait, sir.
Sure.
And then we will start, sir.
Yeah.
And sir, do you also have a plan to extend your activity in the lower part of Assam, sir?
Whole of Northeast is our
yes.
So we would love
sir.
to come here. Absolutely.
Okay,
whenever
sir.
you need any assistance, we'll be
all right, sir. So in the line of this, I have spoke with our honorable deputy commissioner, who is generally the in charge of the village scheme and project and implementation. So he is supposed to come tomorrow, but he just rang me during the session of Professor Sachindra Kakoti that tomorrow the Honorable Minister is visiting Dhubri,
Mhm.
Mr. Chandan Brahmo. So probably he said that my network would be a little bit low, the
Mhm.
strength could be a little bit low. So he said that if there is the case, then we have to look forward. But anyhow, he will try to get into it,
Yeah.
and then try to just share his thought and support us. This is what he committed.
Right.
So this is all. So sir, we have already moved ahead, so let's start our session. So team, can I request to come forward? Who is there? Nilakshi
Yes, sir.
or Nilakshi? Okay, very good, Nilakshi. So I would like to request to introduce a speaker of a day, to all our participants. Of course, as I always said, Professor Pant doesn't need any introduction, but some of them are very new, and for like example from the Jammu and Kashmir, so they may need it. So please do that. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Professor R.M. Pant, sir, Director, NIRD and PR NERC, Dr. Madhusar Ranghan, sir, Coordinator, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan and Smart Village Lab, Minister Brahma Engineering College, teachers and students from different colleges, seniors, juniors, and all my dear friends. Welcome to today's second session of our one-week workshop cum seminar, Smart Village by Intervention and Visible Solutions, jointly organized by Smart Village Lab Local Chapter, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan Unit, Minister Brahma Engineering College and University of Melbourne. Today, this task of introducing our guest of honor is a great privilege. Professor R.M. Pant sir graduated from Kimau University, Uttarakhand. He is lecturer at Birla Institute of Applied Science, Himtal, and also at Birla Institute of Technology, Mishra, Ranchi. He worked as lecturer at National Institute of Foundry and Forge Technology. He is the former professor of Northeastern Regional Institute of Science and Technology, NERIST. He is the director at National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj, NEIC. Thank you so much, sir. We are blessed that you are among us and very fortunate to gain knowledge from you. So now I would like to request Professor R.M. Pant sir to please further continue the session. Sir, over to you.
Uh, Thank you, Nilakshi, and
Thank
esteemed Dr. Medalson Rongthang, the main person behind this promotion of Unnat Bharat Abhiyan in Kokrajhar, and esteemed delegates, uh, young students, very good afternoon to you all. And today I'll just share this PowerPoint, but in the meantime I can utilize the time to brief you what I propose to discuss on it. Uh, as the topic is smart village concept and indicators, the smart village is the talk of the town these days. Everybody talks about smart villages. We'll just discuss the concept of smart village, what this smart village is all about, and then a visit to Indian villages. Where do they fit in the concept of smart villages? What is the word perception of Indian villages? And then switching gears now from the past to fast tech, switching to now modern world. Our villages are switching to this concept of modern villages very fast. We'll discuss that, and we'll try to understand how some developed states like Andhra and even Assam is proposing to enter into this concept of to promote this concept of smart village, and then we'll discuss one or two success stories if time permits. All right. With this, let me welcome you all once again and share my, whatever presentation I have made. I'll just share that with you. Uh, Smart village concept and indicators. As I mentioned, that the smart villages are being talked about for last couple of years. Initially, we had no idea what this concept is all about, but gradually we have not only understood the concept of smart villages, but we have already started acting in that direction. Uh, Before I start, let me give you a small exercise. Just close your eyes and think of a smart village, vicarious visit to a smart village. What is your concept of smart village? Just uh, visualize what a smart how does a smart village look like. Now, does this fit into your imagination? A smart village, you can see neat and clean village. You can see here this rainwater harvesting. You can see parks are being developed in this village. You can see this rivers flowing in the village. Good road network. You can see here school, panchayat ghar, uh, organic farming. Right? So basically, what we want in a smart village is all these things: self-sufficient system, neat and clean, safe drinking water. Anyway, we'll discuss all these things later. So a vicarious visit to a village, a village of our imagination looks like this, right? So I just now mentioned a village must have, wherever we have gram panchayat, we must have a gram panchayat ghar, a good school, good health facilities, cleanliness, provisions for solid and liquid waste management. Uh, we need to have good library because reading is very important, and all those who read, they lead. All right. So library, sports field, sports facilities, small stadium, maybe access to good communication. I mean, we live in this IT age, and if we do not have access to IT, that means we cannot really move. We cannot keep pace with the development. Okay. Road connectivity, parks. Uh, our late legendary president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, once gave this concept, Pura, providing urban amenities in rural areas. Okay. So all these facilities, all these amenities are present in the villages or not. That determines whether a village is smart or not. Electrification, ICT connectivity, livelihood option. Do we have enough livelihood option to keep people intact in the villages, or else they will migrate to other areas in search of jobs? So livelihood options, I mean, nowadays organic agriculture is in high demand. Uh, then value addition to primary sectors products that also offers a lot of livelihood opportunities to the people, access to market, rural tourism, entrepreneurship. Do we have these things available in rural areas? Okay. That's very important. Do these facilities exist in Indian villages? Word perception is this: Indian villages look like this, not so clean, you know, and basic amenities are missing. Women have to travel long distances to fetch water. This is how word perceives India, especially Indian villages. And a lot has been, said about India. India has been disparaged. Uh, V.S. Naipaul, uh, a prominent author of Indian origin, in his book An Area of Darkness, he writes, India is a country of no toilets. People defecate everywhere. How do you feel when you hear this kind of comments about your country? Or in Western media, what is popularized, what was, I'll not use the term is, now word perception is changing very fast because India is emerging into a new India. So how India was basically propagated a country of snake charmers, beggars, and sadhus. This kind of pictures would be, there in foreign magazines, foreign newspapers, and once Mr. Chidambaram uh, talked about foreigners' perception about India, and in one of his speeches, he says, India is perceived as a lazy elephant trying to stand on its four legs, falls down, we cajole it, hit it, he tries again and again, and falls down. This is how India was perceived, because we used to have wonderful policies uh, which never materialized. We seldom, I would refrain from using the term never, but these good policies were seldom, saw the light of the day. So now, lazy elephant is giving way to a smart tiger. Lazy elephant is now being replaced by a smart tiger. For last few years, we see a lot of changes that have taken place in our national scenario, and lazy elephant now is uh, being replaced by a smart tiger. Uh, of course, it's a rural word. Still, almost 44.14% of world population lives in villages. Uh, in West, it is called countryside, and in India and other developing economies, it is called villages. 3.3 billion people live in villages or countryside, and India has the largest share of rural population, with almost 83.3 crore people living in rural areas, almost 68.9 people. Uh, uh, 640,000 villages are there in India. 70%, almost 70% population that lives in villages contributes very little to gross domestic product of the country. Almost 50% of what 30% population living in urban areas is contributing. So it's really, we can say that despite the fact that majority of the population is living in rural areas, but their contribution to GDP is very low, and fault is with us. We have never realized the potentials that villages have or the rural sector has. Now it's being realized, or the potentials of rural areas are being recognized. And now we have the concept of smart villages. We're trying to make these villages smart. And my perception about smart villages is villages should be, I have given this acronym uh, of smartness to villages. Smart, S, basically Samrit, prosperous. We need to have prosperity in villages if we really want to develop the country. Samrachana, that is infrastructure. We need to provide good infrastructure. We need to create good infrastructure to make these villages prosperous, and of course, swasth, healthy. We need to provide good health facilities. Once we have good healthy people, once we have healthy people, their productivity goes up, and then their contribution to nation building would be more. So number one is Samriddh. M stands for Manoram. Manoram means beautiful, scenic beauty, neat and clean, pleasant. Villages during my childhood were known for their serene environment. We used to have good hills, green forest, streams passing through the village. Those kind of villages have become rare because we have really spoiled our environment. So smart village, when we talk about smart village, M stands here for Manoram, or the cleanliness or pleasant serenity. Then A is Atmanirbhar. Gandhi's concept of Gram Swaraj is making villages self-sufficient, self-Atmanirbhar. And now this Atmanirbhar term is being used for nation building also, Atmanirbhar Bharat. And the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat would materialize only the smallest unit of Bharat, that is the village, they become Atmanirbhar. Right? And then R is Rashtra Niti. All the villages have to move with the country, they have to move with the nationalistic feeling. They have to move with the pace of development that country has adopted. So Rashtra Niti, we have to go by our national priorities. All the villages have to join this moment of transforming India. So Rashtra Niti, we know that there are three levels of governance. A union government is there, then second, state level governance is there, and at the lowest level, we have Gram Panchayats. They are the local uh, level of governance. So local Niti has to be linked with Rashtriya Niti. And then finally, the last, uh, this Takniki Samriddhata. Our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, he is a techno-savvy person and he has really transformed, villages using this technology. I would like to quote here our former Prime Minister, Mr. late Rajiv Gandhi. He once confessed that 100 rupees goes from 100 rupees, a grant of 100 rupees is allocated. By the time it reaches the final destination, it is reduced to 15 paisa. Large amount of pilferage is there due to corruption. So corruption would be handled only when technology is used. Okay? I, acknowledge the contribution of late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi ji, who brought computers in India, and of course our present Prime Minister Modi ji, who is going all out to use technology to reduce corruption. So when we say smart, we need to have prosperous villages, we need to have clean and pleasant looking villages, serene villages, we need to have self-sufficient, self-dependent villages, self-governing units contributing to nation building, and then finally good access to technology. This is my concept of smart village. This acronym I have used, I have developed, and it very well fits into our national concept of smartness. You can see these uh, uh, self-sufficient, samriddh, you can see here, neat and clean. This is the picture of Mawlingnong village, which has earned the distinction of being the cleanest village. And now a lot of tourists are coming to see cleanliness there and understand the concept of cleanliness there in this village. And they are really earning huge amount of money through this rural tourism. And as I said, Rashtra Niti, Gram Panchayats are the local self-government units. So now thinking is changing from top down, from top down, policies. Now we have this bottom up approach. So uh, things have to be decided. Decisions have to be made at the grassroots level, and people in the village, they are best equipped to do that, right? And Takniki Samriddhata, like you can see here, now villagers are having laptop and they can communicate well. So this basically we want in the country right now. Smart village or smart Gram Panchayat is an ambitious framework that attempts to transform rural areas into economically, socially, physically sustainable places. These three words, economically, self-sufficient, even if uh, supply lines are cut off for some time, as we witnessed during COVID period. So nobody should starve, nobody should die. Right? Economically, self-sufficiency is there. Socially, there should not be gender discrimination. There should not be any discrimination of any kind based on caste, religion, or gender. Right? And physically sustainable, like whatever we are doing, we are not jeopardizing our physical environment. Right? Our actions are not harming our environment that surrounds us. Our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, when he took over in 2014, he very well recognized the aspirations of the people living in villages. He said their aspirations are no less than aspirations of those living in cities. Why should people living in villages be deprived of all the amenities that is enjoyed by urbanites? Okay? And he reinforces his commitment by bringing out another statement in the year 2016. He says they want a certain quality of life, good education, healthcare, electricity, internet, and entertainment option. Why not? Why rural people should not have access to good education, why they should not have good health care, why there is no electricity in rural areas, why they cannot have access to, why can't they have access to internet or other entertainment options? After all, 70% people are living in villages. We cannot deprive. So we have to provide these things to rural people so that there is no craze for cities among rural people. They don't migrate to rural areas. There are two things they are very important here. Use of technology. When we talk about smart villages, use of technology and integration of several key interventions in infrastructure and service deliveries. Okay? Uh, why Unnat Bharat Abhiyan has been given to uh, universities and technical institutions, because you people are well versed with technologies and you have that capability to capacitate rural people how to use this technology, right? So extensive use of technology. People have to use computers, villagers have to use ICT, and you are the people who have a very important role there, and integration of several other interventions. Like Government of India has got so many schemes for uh, development of our rural sector. They may not be aware, but teachers, university professors, university teachers, you have the responsibility to expose them to the government schemes, help them, in availing these facilities which government provides. The concept of smart village, again, last mile access to basic amenities and services. I mentioned Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who gave the concept of Pura. Uh, unless and until the people sitting at the farthest place, unless and until he or she is getting benefits of our national policies, all national policies are a failure, right? So last mile access to basic amenities, and that technology is playing a very important role. I have thousands of examples where technology has really changed the scenario there. So we have to ensure that once villages are made smart villages, last mile access to basic amenities, and people will have access to this even in far off places. Optimum utilization of local assets with sustainability. You saw that picture of that village of our imagination. A village has forests, village has river, village has green fields where we can really grow very good organic products. But remember what Gandhiji once mentioned: nature can take care of our needs, but not of our greed. If we go for over exploitation, obviously that's not the sustainable way of utilizing our available resources. So optimum utilization is the need of the hour, but using sustainability. Maybe from forest we can draw a lot of NFTBs. Rivers can be used for supplying drinking water. Rivers can also be used for irrigation purpose. Rivers can also be used for for developing pisciculture, like that. So we need to utilize these local resources for economic transformation of rural sector, livelihood and employment opportunities. If local resources are utilized properly in a sustainable manner, there would not be any dearth of livelihood and employment opportunities. People will not have to migrate to cities in search of jobs or in search of livelihood options. Knowledge. Uh, if you go to rural areas, uh, people may not have uh, degrees like BTech, MTech, or PhDs, but the amount of knowledge they have, we cannot match. So we have to recognize their traditional knowledge, and also if we can, uh, provide this modern knowledge, that will be a very good combination. So in smart village, knowledge would play a very important role. Technology infrastructure, of course, is the prerequisite for development these days, and skill development, as I mentioned, uh, people living in villages, they are very, very skilled. But if there are certain areas where do not have skills, for example, in the case of ICT, They can be provided skills because they are fast adapters. They can grasp things very fast. So they are already skilled. They can again be provided with fresh set of skills, and that is how we can empower them. Linking with programs and schemes, we have large number of government schemes which really are trying to make serious attempt to transform rural sector. We have Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, we have MG Narega, we have you know Sagi in the Prime Minister Awas Yojana. Several schemes are there, but people do not have idea how to make use of this. So this is where they have to be again exposed. They have to be, maybe we can help them building institutions, uh, social institutions, economic institutions, uh, various types of institutions can be developed by people living in villages themselves. Knowledge institutions, I'll give some example, I'll share some success stories a little later. Accountability and transparency. Recall late Rajiv Gandhiji's statement. Corruption and no transparency has really done a great damage to our economy. So using technology, we can provide better accountability and transparency, and that is what we try to do. That is the concept of smart village we have in the country. Smart decisions, quick decisions. We do not have to really wait for the clearance of those files for months and years altogether. Now we have ICT technology. We can give our, we can process data quickly, process information, process data, and take decisions. And partnership. No individual uh, uh, person, no individual can transform the scenario all alone. Alone, our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, cannot change the whole scenario. So partnership has to be developed. Uh, Different people from different walks of life, they have to join hands to make smart village a reality. Uh, let's see 5 broad areas where we uh, uh, where these smart villages have to initiate interventions. Uh, just yeah. Uh, Environment development. We live in an environment, and we affect the environment, and we get affected by the environment. So we can affect, we do affect the environment. If we are going for wanton exploitation of our natural resources, that means we are affecting environment adversely. And when environment is affected adversely, we are no longer safe. Okay. So environment development, we whatever we do, it has to be in sync with our environmental sustainability. Economic development is another very important aspect. If economic development is not there, again, people will not be able to live a quality life. Social development, uh, no discrimination, we live a harmonious life. Human development, people acquire knowledge. Okay, so basically, and smart governance, and we need to have good panchayats at grassroots level, at village level. People should be active, gram sabhas should be active, and they should plan. It's not that Modi ji will plan for your village or my village. We have to plan ourselves, and now it's bottom up. This is the age of bottom up planning now. We know our priorities better. Okay, so people sitting in Delhi, or people sitting in Guwahati, or people sitting in Patna, or Jammu, or Srinagar, no? They may not be knowing what villagers exactly want. So smart governance, people sitting in the villages, they have to plan for their own development, keeping all these aspects in mind. All right, what elements do we need? Uh, First, in any smart village, we want no poverty. In fact, we want to eradicate poverty from our country, from this world. Nobody should remain poor. In fact, Sustainable Development Goals, this is the first priority. SDG 1 is no poverty. Second, no hunger. Nobody should go to bed hungry. Nobody should starve. Okay, and nobody should be houseless. Everyone must have shelter. So these are the basic necessities, and smart village means in each and every person in that village must have all these things. Then socioeconomic inclusiveness and justice. SDG 5, 8, and 10. There should not be any discrimination. Okay. Let me share this with you. SDG 5 is gender equality. SDG 8 is good jobs and economic growth. All right. So people should not uh, there should not be any gender bias. There should be enough economic opportunities so people can get job within the village itself. And SDG 10 is required reduced inequalities. Inequalities of any kind should not be there in the villages. So then only we can term them as smart villages. Universal access in smart basic communities, and the SDG 6 and 8 are addressed here. This smart energy, SDG 7. Uh, it satisfies SDG 7. Smart connectivity, we should have access to good communication. Smart agriculture and allied activities. Okay. Smart education, SDG 4 talks about smart education. Smart health, good health should be there. So SDG 3 is satisfied here. Smart environment, whatever activities we are doing in our village, they should not affect our environment adversely. SDG 13 is climate action. Our activities, our development initiatives should not lead to environment, this climate change, life below water. Number 14, our springs, our rivers should not be affected adversely by our activities. And 15 is life on land, cleanliness, and we are not using too much of pesticides or fertilizers. Okay? So these things we need to have. Smart infrastructure, good infrastructure is required. Smart technology, e-enabled services. I'll be talking about the success story of Punsari a little later. Converging government schemes, there are a lot of schemes government has launched, but many times we are not aware of these schemes. I have chosen this SR Khandu's, a small panchayat in Sikkim. They're using, they are going for convergent planning. They have converged several schemes, MG Narega and forest schemes. They have developed rhododendron gardens there. And again, they have used tourism department, they have used forest department, they have used MG Narega money, and they have developed some good spots. They have developed rhododendron parks and other parks, rhododendron forests, and large number of tourists are coming, and tourism department is also significant. And then the scenario has changed completely, socio-economic status of this village. Panchayat SR Khandu Panchayat of Sikkim, it has completely transformed. Okay. Protecting local traditions and heritage. There's a saying that culture is very, very important. Loss of culture is loss of identity. I had the privilege to visit this Jongu village in North Sikkim, which is basically a protected area for original Sikkimi Lepcha tribe. They are doing wonderful job. They're going for organic agriculture. They have access to internet. They have access to latest technologies, good road connectivity. Of course, it gets disrupted because of landslides and all. But otherwise, this village is quite a smart village. And they are maintaining their traditions and heritage. It is a protected village for Lepchas. They are the original people tribe of Sikkim. So we need to protect our traditions and heritage also, not that in race of development our culture is swept away. Right? Smart livelihood options, good entrepreneurship. Now we have schemes like Rurban, Syama Prasad Mukherjee, Rural Urban. Okay? Clusters are being developed where opportunities, livelihood option. I'll talk about it a little later. Livelihood options are being offered at their doorstep so that people don't have to go to Bombay, Ahmedabad in search of jobs, or Delhi or Kolkata, big cities. Right? Smart institutions, smart planning. These are some of the other things that we need in villages. Smart government and governance and team. Smart governance means our Gram Sabha, participative planning should be there in villages. Gram Sabha should be active. Each and every individual is member of the Gram Sabha. And Gram Sabhas are active, so Gram Panchayat will also be active. And nowadays, 14th, 14th Finance Commission, a lot of grants were given to Gram Panchayat, and even 15th Finance Commission is also giving a great deal of grants to this local governance. Volunteerism. We should not, leave everything to our Prime Minister or Chief Minister or our Gram Pradhan. People have to come forward. Then only scenario will change. Okay? Everyone has to come forward. Everyone has to volunteer for nation building, for state building, or for village development. Okay, so volunteerism. I would like to share a small success story from Shergaon in West Kameng district of Arunachal Pradesh. Small village, education level is good, and many of them are, working outside, but they have formed their youth club, and this youth club collects money from all those people, voluntary contribution from the people who are well off to donate, to contribute for rural development. They have they have developed a good library. They have developed a museum. They have developed some institutions which honor elderly, senior citizens at regular intervals. Senior citizens, they pass on traditional values to young boys and girls. A wonderful system they have developed, you know, by creating a feeling of volunteerism. Okay, so I think it doesn't involve much money. The only thing is we need to have that pleasure of giving. We must develop that sense of giving something back to our village. Okay, so Shergaon has really set up a role. Shergaon has created a model which is being emulated by other villages also. Okay, and smart behavior and self-pride. That's again a very important thing. We should never feel inferior if we are living in villages. Many times it so happens that village people, when they go to urban areas, they feel little inferior. Oh my God, we are going to urban areas, big cities. We may look like fools. People may ridicule us. No, villages are much better than people living in villages are much better than people living in urban areas. Have that feeling, have that confidence. If you want to see this, if you want to witness this kind of confidence, go to Mawlingnong village, which is being marketed as the cleanest village of Asia. In this village is there in Meghalaya. You go to that village, you try to litter that place, you consume a bottle of cold drink and just throw it anywhere. Nobody would stop you from doing that. But someone will come and pick up that thing and put it in the dustbin. And again, they'll say, thank you for visiting our village. All right? What a confidence, what a smart behavior they have. No, the people would die of shame. Anybody who does that, who litters that place. Okay. So they will not say, why are you littering our village? They'll simply pick up things and put it in the dustbin and then say, thank you for visiting our village, come again. All right. They take so much of self-pride in their village. Even a small child will say, we are very proud of our village. We are the cleanest village in Asia. All right. So we need to create that kind of atmosphere in our villages. Then only we'll say we are a smart village. Okay. Now now all the states have developed their own criteria or indicators for developing smart villages. Andhra is one of the pioneers. So let me discuss first Andhra's story. What do they mean by a smart village? What kind of indicators they are using to uh, rate a village as a smart village, right? There are three major points here: sustainable and inclusive development of all sections of its community. So enjoy a high standard of living. So first of all, sustainable and inclusive development. Each and every person, inclusive development means development is not confined just to few elites. Each and every person basically enjoys a good standard of living, number one. Secondly, 100% achievement of the identified basic communities. They have identified certain indicators, I'll discuss that, and 100% achievement. And till 100% achievement is not there, those villages will not be considered as smart villages. Okay, this present government is insisting on one aspect: saturation, that every scheme has to be taken to that saturation level. Means electricity. Now suppose electrification of village, unless and until each and every household has been electrified, has been you know has access to electricity, we cannot call that a successful scheme. Okay, so basically effort is to take every scheme to saturation level. Means every household will have electricity, every household will have access to Ujjwala scheme, that is LPG. 8 crore LPGs, 8 crore people were provided access to LPG in past few years, right? So saturation is the buzzword these days. Every scheme has to reach that saturation level, right? And non-negotiable condition for more towards smart village. If it is to be done, it has to be done. There is no negotiations, right? No excuses for not doing that, right? So that is the way now government is working, and that's how government of Andhra has also, you know, prepared their plan. Smart village indicators, homes for all. We have Prime Minister Awas Yojana, and in many states, Chief Minister Awas Yojana is also there. But idea is the same, that every person should have a house. Every person will have roof over his head, access to toilets, safe drinking water, and regular power. Electricity is there. Then only we can have smart village. Every household has diversified livelihood opportunities. There is a saying that we don't put all eggs in one basket. Okay? This COVID has taught us many lessons. Many villages were basically relying on this money order economy, or you know, many people were working outside, and then they were sending uh, money from places, but they lost their job, and villages also suffered immensely, right? Because there was no self sufficiency. So we cannot rely on just one source. So diversified livelihood, we need to have entrepreneurial activities in villages. We need to have good agriculture. Okay, we need to have other micro enterprises like that. So diversified livelihood opportunities, not just one. We don't put all eggs in one basket. If basket falls down, all eggs will break, right? So diversified livelihood opportunities you need to create, and open defecation. Now, of course, country is free from open defecation, and this has to be sustained. So unless and until each and every person has access to toilet, and there is no open defecation, then we can say our village is smart village. Uh, SSGs, self-help groups, and youth have access to skill development and village enterprise development. Like people should have access to new skills. As I mentioned, rural people have tremendous skills. They have very good skills, but with change, we need to reskill ourselves. So are the villagers. So self-help group members, they are doing a great job in transforming rural areas. Our youth have a very important role. So if they can be reskilled, or they can be provided new skills, 100% institutional delivery. That means childbirth. I mean, we have very high infant mortality rate, we had very high infant mortality rate. Still, mortality rate is high. So, if we have 100% childbirths in hospitals, we can definitely improve our status in these areas. Has solid and liquid waste management. Every village should have proper solid and liquid waste management, and then it will be considered a smart village. And all preventable maternal deaths and infant deaths. Okay? Zero school dropouts of boys and girls up to class 12, because up to once they've done if they have received education up to class 12, means they are quite good. They can really come up in their lives. They can really they would know what they are supposed to do and what they can do, right? Functional toilets, potable waters, electricity available in Anganwadi centers and all that, these are the criteria they have selected. Malnutrition free, it's not fee, I'm sorry, it's malnutrition free. There should not be malnutrition, because we need to have healthy citizens in the country if we want. And girl child marriages. Child marriages were prevailing in Andhra Pradesh, so they have put a complete ban on that. Every farm has soil health card. Okay, uh, doubling farmers' income. That's basically the objective of this government. So that has to be seen at grassroots level. Every village household has a functional bank account. Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana and all that. So everyone should have bank accounts, so that even government schemes can transfer money directly to their bank account. We say DBT, direct benefit transfers. Green trees, okay, has functional water conservation and harvesting structures, functional information centers. They call it Me Seva. Me Seva in Telugu means we are at your service. So they are basically customer service centers, common service centers. Okay? So every village will have this common service center called Me Seva, that's at your service. Telecom internet connectivity. Gram Sabha is to be held 4 times in a year. That is made mandatory, so that participative planning is done, so that no just Pradhan alone doesn't develop a plan for the village. So participative planning is has a functional grievance redressal system. If people have some grievances, functional grievance redressal system should be there in a smart village. And similarly, Assam and other villages, other states have also come out with their own set of smart village criteria. We need to customize as per our requirements. Okay. So Assam's smart village concept has it basically emanates from the vision to eradicate poverty, to give self-sustainability to Gram Panchayats. They also have this criteria: strengthening the institutional infrastructure, providing better road connectivity, safe drinking water, improved sanitation facilities. So they are basically moving ahead with all these indicators. And once all these indicators are achieved 100%, then we can say that we have smart villages in Assam. Right? Banking facilities, agricultural productivity, doubling farmers' income, honoring eminent persons from Gram Panchayat, eradication of superstitions, right? So there are various factors. In fact, in every state, every village, we need to customize our priorities. We need to customize our plans. So basically, we have to identify what indicators we are selecting, and then after having identified our indicators, areas, we have to ensure that we achieve 100% success in those identified indicators. Government of India has also, provided an indicative list of indicators. Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, very good scheme that every Sansad has to adopt some villages, and those villages must have these 4 broad things. The personal values should be there, personal cleanliness facilities should be there, cultural heritage, behavioral change. Okay, so people should be forward looking, people should say no, should be able to say no to authentication, behavioral change. So these are the personal things that are being considered. Economic livelihood opportunities should be there in the village. People have to be provided a set of new skills. Financial inclusion, each and every person should be included in the process of development. Basic amenities should be, everyone should have access to basic amenities. Social volunteerism should be there, social values should be there, ethics, social justice, good governance, and on human front, education, health, nutrition, social security. This is the framework government or this Niti Aayog has provided for this Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana. And Syama Prasad Mukherjee Rural Mission, which I mentioned just sometimes back, how to at household level, at village level, at cluster level, certain activities have been identified. Uh, at household level, at village level, we need to have proper solid waste management, liquid waste management, individual toilets, piped water supply, LPG connection, and skill development. And then at cluster level, vermicomposting can provide good livelihood opportunities, inter-village road connectivity, upgradation of educational facilities, e-gram facilities, digital literacy, mobile health units, dairy farming, agro farming. These are some of the things that are envisaged to be provided at cluster level, and 3,000 village clusters are being empowered with this urban medicine. Uh, and then digital uh, India mission is also there. Digital village intend to provide a platform for availability of services such as telemedicine, teleeducation, LED street lighting, and all that. So basically, technology, unless technology reaches, unless we make use of technology, uh, we cannot ensure, benefits provided by by the governments to reach its destination, the rural sector, rural areas. So these are some of the things. Mission Antyodaya again is a kind of platform that has been created with 29 subjects that will help transform the villages. 27 ministries are involved. Basically, we are trying to develop our rural sector using convergence model. 27 ministries are there, several departments are there, 29 subjects are there, and more than 150 indicators are there. And based on these 150 indicators, 150 plus indicators, we have created a dashboard. You can visit this Mission Antyodaya. You can find out how many Gram Panchayats have performed 100%. What is the performance level of each of the panchayats in the country? You can see in this Mission Antyodaya platform. And I think it's time to conclude. What is required to make a smart village is to develop the concept of smart first, conceptualize the framework for smart village. What kind of things we require in our village to convert it into a smart village. Develop a self-sustainable and viable model for smart village. Once we have visualized something in our mind, then we can develop self-sustainable models. These are the things we need. One good school, we need health center, we need good sports ground, we need good library. Then we have to work on these models, and agencies are there. Government agencies are there, government funding is there to Gram Panchayats and villages, and we can develop those facilities there. Design technology solutions, smart village policy for better and empowered rural governance. Governance requires good planning, and planning requires good information. So ICT, computers, they are required for smart planning. We need to develop smart plans to develop smart villages. Mainstream village communities. Now in 21st century, there should not be any difference between rural and urban areas. We have to we have to break isolation of villages. We have to connect them with the mainstream, let people from urban areas go to villages in search of livelihood opportunities. Then only we'll have a smart country or smart village or smart state. Okay, so mainstreaming village communities, rural institutions in designing a smart village. Okay, design a detailed plan for investment and resource allocation. We need to develop good plans so that we can make we can utilize our available resources in the best way. uh, few pictures I'll show you. This picture is of Mallidhara Gram Panchayat. This is a small village in Sikkim. Does this look like a village? This, when I visited this office, it gave me an impression of a typical corporate office. You know, people sit here in these cubicles. They have everyone sitting there has computers. They have a help desk also, uh, which uh, uh, which is meant by a person who helps villagers visiting Panchayat Ghar for getting certain certificates done. They may require certain certificates from district headquarters, so they help immediately. You know, help necessary help is provided. Uh, when look at this village, it's so beautiful, neat and clean, and has access to all amenities that cities have. Now look at the inside view of these offices. Uh, these are panchayat ghars. Okay, another panchayat from Sikkim, Maniram Falde Panchayat. So much of transparency. What work has been done in last 5 years? Everything is painted on the walls, panchayat walls, and they have demonstrated all these things. What kind of facilities people can access from this panchayat? Right? This kind of local governance we need. Now look at this. What work they have done, where this money was used, how much money they received, where it was used, and how much time it took. Everything is, uh, written on these panchayat ghars walls, so that even people do not even have to enter these offices from outside. Also, they can get all, you know. Uh, I'll close with a small, just 1 minute success story. The first smart village of the country is Punsari village. I'm sure you must have heard about it. This village is in Gujarat, Sardar Patel Pravesh Dwar. From here you enter this village. And this is Himanshu Patel, the Pradhan of this Gram Panchayat, Punsari. And he claims that our village is so clean that I challenge anyone coming to village that if one finds even a single mosquito in this village, I will award them with rupees 1 lakh. Look at the confidence of this young person. He is an educated person, very techno-savvy person. And he has transformed his village using technology. Look, all his street lights are supported by solar energy. Okay? So all these streets are lit with this solar energy, and they have the 66 kV Punsari substation also. So there are 24 people in this village have 24 hour access to electricity. Okay? Then they have this Wi-Fi. Every person living in village can access Wi-Fi by paying 50 rupees a month. Initially, there were just 3 persons who took this subscription of this Wi-Fi there in the village, but today more than 300 internet connections are there, right? And as we know, this mother's mortality rate normally is high in rural areas, and infant mortality rate is high in rural areas. But in this village, this IMR or MMR is 0. Right? So with little efforts, a lot of possibilities are there. Things can be changed, and we need to we have many success stories. Punsari is not the only village that has really proved that villages can be made smart. There are many other villages. You must have come across the story of Hivre Bazaar. Popat Pawar was the this Pradhan of that village, and now he has been given very important responsibility by government of Maharashtra for transforming the complete rural sector and many other responsibilities. Okay, so a lot of new stories are emerging, and the day is not very far when the word perception about villages will change and word perception about India will change. So we are heading towards smart villages, and we will do that together. No individual can do it alone. We all have to work together. So I once again urge all the learned people present here uh, to, you know, dedicate ourselves, uh, for transforming our rural sector, because unless and until rural sector is transformed, country will not, cannot be transformed. All right. So on this note, thank you very much for, giving me very patient hearing, patient listening. And if you have any question, maybe you can share. And I hope you could hear me nicely. Okay. So thank you very much. And if any question, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. This was a very wonderful session. You touch upon all the aspect and how it is transforming in different states. So that it's echoing. Something is wrong. Hilal, check up. Okay, so I was saying that, so thank you so much. It was really very touch upon, the examples which of a success story was really very motivating, and also talk about all the scheme which the government is having, I'm really very much happy that I'm not aware of that one. So now we can, think on this direction, and so that we know how to do, what to do, and where to do. Maybe in sometimes we will stuck, so we need your help, sir. So,
Sure.
sir, here, let me pick up some of the question, but participant can unmute themselves and come forward to ask directly. Okay, but for the time being, let me read out. So, Partha Jyoti has just queries to you, like smart village. How can the smart village be transformed into rural India? So this is like one which everybody has to think and start working. But maybe your feedback.
My feedback: how smart village can transform the country's economy.
Yeah, that transform the rural India.
All right, because as I mentioned in the very first slide, that India lives in villages. 70%
Yes, sir.
population is living in villages. So once majority of these people are empowered through the concept of smart villages, they have access to employment within their own village. They have self-sufficiency. They have livelihood opportunities. They have good education. They have good skills. So 70% people once empowered definitely will have pull-out effect on the nation's economy, right? So right now, urban sector is trying to pull rural sector out of this, their plight. As I said, almost GDP contribution of rural sector is very, very minimal. So once the rural sector is empowered using this smart village concept, they will pull out urban sector, right? So complete transformation of India will happen only once 70% population is transformed.
Yes,
I hope
sir.
I have been able to answer.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So Partha is happy with your answer, sir. So thank you so much,
Thank you,
sir.
thank you, thank
Yes,
you.
sir. So if you permit, sir, there is another one more question, a very interesting question, and I think this is
Sure.
what it has to be done.
Sure.
Satra Priya Sahu. So he asked, probably he. So I'm sorry if I miss, pull out the gender. So Satya Priya asked, sir, what do you think about? I think the neighboring village of a model village are not adopting, are not being able to adopt the same process.
Oh, well, that's a good question. Neighboring
Yes.
villages. Now we have smart
Yeah.
village or model village. Then neighboring village, demonstration effect is there. There is a saying that nothing succeeds like success. I'll give example of Mawlingnong village, all right, which has earned the distinction of being the cleanest village in Asia. Now, if you visit surrounding villages, Rivai village is there, then there are other couple of other villages there. Okay, seeing the success of Mawlingnong, they have also become equally clean now. I mean, we have witnessed this ourselves in last 5 years, seeing the benefits that Mawlingnong is driving out of its cleanliness. A lot of tourists are visiting there, so they have also, resolved. They have also developed a resolve to maintain cleanliness there, so that people also visit Revai village. And now Mawlingnong was forced to change their, positioning. They said, not only clean village, but the most beautiful village. Now they are trying to develop good gardens there. So because their cleanliness USP is no more their USP, because Revive village is equally clean and other villages are also very clean. So tourists are
Yes,
going there as well. Okay, so it
yes,
has demonstration effect. So this is good that if we are able to develop one village, it will, it will motivate other villages also to follow the suit.
correct, correct, correct. There is always a ripple effect. That's very true, sir.
Ripple effect.
Yeah,
Very
yes, yes. Whether the other way also there is a rippling effect. If we
true.
put everything done, then this also
Yes.
there. Okay, so sir, one more question maybe. So I'll pick up with the permission. That is from Nagarajan. Nagarajan is from Tamil Nadu. He
Right.
asks, sir, since independent, we have implemented many poverty reduction scheme
Hmm.
and employment opportunity scheme. Why they are not given a full result? Number one
Right.
question.
Sure.
Second is, if we have adopted Gandhian concept from the independent, whether we would have achieved in creating a good society instead of selfish natured society.
Right. I take you back to
Yes,
this
sir.
slide. Okay. Uh,
Yes, sir.
Now read this statement once again. Word perception: a lazy elephant trying to stand on its four legs falls down, we cajole it, hit it. Okay. India is the first country in Asia to have gone for planned development. We adopted 5-year plans, and everything was planned by the
Yes.
central government, and then it will percolate down from there. And we got a distinction of being one of the being the country which developed best of the plans. Okay. Indian government was known to have developed best plans in the world, but these plans were never implemented successfully. All right. So Dr. Nagarjuna's question is very, very correct. We have been trying to eradicate poverty right from first 5-year plan, but poverty is still there. We are trying to do away with hunger, starvation, but still we could not do away with all these things, right? Because we were like a lazy elephant. Okay, we were like a lazy elephant. We would announce a scheme and believe that, all right, now we have this scheme, so things will be done. Now thinking is now changing. Now smart tiger is there. If we have decided to do something, we will do that. There is no negotiable, there are no compromises to be made. Now we are seeing this change. All right? India, which was perceived by West as a country of snake charmers, a country of beggars. How do they perceive India now? Now the whole world is their perception is changing. Now they see India as a major power, a strong nation. Could we ever talk to China seeing in their eye to eye? Now what is happening now we all know. Okay, so now we are emerging as a very confident nation. No more a lazy elephant. We are a strong, smart tiger. All right. So if we have decided to make our villages smart, we will make it. We will make it. And we decided to make India Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. We launched, and now Swachh Bharat, we are seeing the results. Go to any railway platform, I'm sure you can see the difference. You go to any village, you see the difference now. Even streets in cities are different. Okay, so now
Yes.
tangible changes are now there. Okay, so Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is a successful one. This Prime Minister Adarsh Yojana, by 2022, we have decided to provide chhat, shelter, roof over every head, and I'm sure we are very near to providing that. We are very near, close to that. All right. So I think first question, why we could not do it in past? Uh, we were like a lazy elephant. We developed good plans. These plans could not be implemented because of our lazy, lethargic attitude. But now we are behaving like a smart tiger, so it will be done. Now the second question of Nagarjuna ji is that had we adopted Gandhian policy? Yes, we adopted Gandhian philosophy in theory, but not in practice. Not in practice. Gandhiji believed, Gandhiji did not preach anything. Gandhiji preached only those things what he practiced. Okay, but we became preachers. We, you know, talked a lot about Gandhism, but we never followed. Okay, Gandhiji, you know, always wanted cottage industry. Okay, Gandhiji wanted Gram Swaraj. Gandhiji wanted self-sufficient, you know, villages. But we always ignored. We never bothered to stop out migration from rural areas to urban city in search of jobs. And what did we get finally? World's largest slum in Bombay, Dharavi. All right. And in every big city, we are having now these slums because people came out from villages and created these slums. And not just this, not only they were forced to live in this kind of unhygienic situation, but also we saw this social disorganization, a lot of crimes and other things because, you know, so Gandhiji's concept of nation building was Gram Swaraj. We did not follow Gandhian practices. We only, you know, used Gandhiji for ensuring. That's it. Gandhian concept, had it been adopted, I'm sure the face of the nation
Yes.
would have been quite
Would
changed.
have,
Definitely.
yes, would have very different. True, 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 Professor Pant, true. So is
Sir,
there any
thanks a
more?
lot, sir. Sir, thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, Nagarjuna ji.
Sir, I have already attended your classes, sir. Your explanation about Ganesha is very interesting one, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay, thank you, Nagarjuna. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Nagarjuna is very humble, you know, very humble. He's always, you know, guiding us, you know, in running the program. So if I cannot see any more question, or if the question is done, then I think we can thank our speaker of the day. So I'm scanning. Yes. So no, I'm not seeing it. So anyhow, sir, if I get something, I'll forward you to in an email or in a WhatsApp, or something like that. But sir, thank you so much for joining and blessing. You know, and I'm very happy that I could see so many schemes, and of course, all my participants would also be very happy to understand, because we always keep inside the book and within the four wall, and we are not much aware of the scheme. And the reason being is a little bit like a lazy elephant; it doesn't explore much. So nevertheless, this kind of, you know, session will open up, and then maybe very soon we also become a smarter tiger. Entire, you know, India would become like, you know, a mover. So thank you so much, and then so we'll end for today's session, sir. Thank you so much for your blessings.
Thank you, and namaskar. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So participant, I would like to request you to please provide this feedback form. I'm sharing it here. So if there is something like you have special question and all, then you can always let us know. We're going to share it to sir. So yeah, so I have shared it here. So this link will be off by 15 minutes. So I request you to please. Okay. So I will request the presentation. Yes. So thank you so much then.